Welcome back to part 2 of the K2SO diorama build. The last thing we did was we were pouring the mold. We had made our panel that we were going to duplicate out of styrene, and we poured the mold. So I had the Moldstar 30 and I didn't have enough to do the other half, so I had to go get some Moldstar 31. I like the contrasting colors. They're a little bit different in density, but they work great. So you take this, you mold it with this, and then you get this. These came out really well. I went on ahead and did 5 of them, and you could see where the seam lines were, so I've gotten the Bondo out and bondoed it and sanded it, and so this one's been sanded pretty good. Next step is primer. So I've got it flat black, matte black, and it looks really good. I'm very happy with that. Now, this is just where the pour spout, and so that's going to get cut off. The 2 things I need to get done is figure out how to do the panel, the actual panel on here, and figure out the diameter of the platform. So the first thing I want to do is, I think I'm just going to be very simple with it and take some masking tape and just using a reference photo of the top of the panels, because they're, of the 5 panels, they're pretty much laid out pretty much the same, but they're different tones of black. So I think I'm going to leave my panels flat black, and then I will cut out, I will paint on here in gloss black. I haven't figured that out. We're gonna do one and see how well that works, because at the end of the day, I still like going over the whole thing with a semi-gloss when I'm done. I still want to be that differentiation between the color tones. You should be able to see that there are 2 different things. I don't know how I'm gonna do that yet, but we're gonna experiment with one and see what happens. So let's do that. It occurred to me that I really needed to start from the bottom up, so I'm working on the base, trying to figure out the actual size. What I'm using is a 4-inch PVC pipe that I had lying around from my old project, and that was going to be where I was going to start. Obviously you have to test fit it, but it looked a little bit big, so I had to check it against the reference photos to see how far apart the panels are. That even looked a little bit big, so I decided to go with a smaller circle to see if that would work for me, and it just didn't. I think it was just a little bit too tight, but I had to check it and recheck it and recheck it again. All that checking, and I made a pattern so I could use that to cut out in styrene the floor and the top of what's going to be the base. Just to make sure everything lines up, I like to mark everything front, back, top, bottom, top piece, bottom piece, and that way I know where my original top piece was and what my original bottom piece was, and now I can decide how thick it needs to be. I ended up using a 3/4 inch piece of wood from the garage, and now I just need to skin it, just get the sides on there. At this point, I am really focused on trying to get this thing completed. I'm so close to being done, and my brain, I'm seeing it as individual pieces. And I'm getting ready to have a didn't see the forest for the trees moment, because it was at this point I realized I just made a white stop sign. With the base complete, I can glue on the control panel, which will allow me to position K2S0 right where I want them. I originally was going to use the base that comes with it and you snap his foot into it, but it stood kind of funny. But it also came with a post that you can put on the base and it would stand based on the post. So I made myself a post mount, and that way I can slide the rod into that hole and we're good to go. Now that the base is done, we can get back to the control panel. How do we do that? This is what we decided to do. Flat black to start with. Mask off the area that we want. We gloss coat this in a high gloss coat. Then we take this off and go straight to greeblies. I like adding the greeblies because I never throw away any extra pieces that I get from any model kit. If a kit comes with several different versions and I've got a couple of extra pieces, I save them. As well as decals. I never throw decals away from anything. The one major thing that worked to my advantage in this deal was all the Bondi kits come with a water slide sheet and a sticker sheet. So what I ended up doing was going through the Bondi kits that I've already built and using some of the stickers. The ones that you came in the most handy was from the R2-D2 kit. Because if you look at the control panels, I also had to decide whether to go screen accurate, which I'm never really a fan of, or give it my own flair, or find some place in the middle. If you go for screen accuracy for that particular scene, it probably would have been, if I had a better skill on the computer, I could probably have done a screen grab and printed it and made a label, but that's not interesting. And so if you look at that compared to like maybe one of the Clone Wars episodes, they all have the same, all the same basic shape, they all use the same basic colors. Usually the panels they're trimmed in white and the buttons are red or white and maybe a blue big panel, flashing panel or whatever. And it lacked a dimension. It needed that extra piece. So that's why we went to the greeblies. I've got my extra pieces usually sorted into categories like all my Star Wars stuff is in one box and all my Star Trek stuff is in another box, and just miscellaneous sci-fi guns here, blah, blah, blah. And you're just looking for these interesting pieces. And some of the stuff that I ended up using, one of the pieces I ended up using was just the front face part of a AT-AT. I don't know why. I do know why. I cast it because it looks interesting, and you could replicate it and put it in different places. That's what scratch building is all about. So this is the last panel. We have to find whatever greeblies that we're going to put on this panel. We can attach it to the base. We can paint the base, and we're pretty much done. So we're going to get on that. As I finish building something, it's time for you to go build something. Pew 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 pew.